everyone. Welcome back to Your Best You. I'm Reverend Dr. Kathleen Fennedy. I'm here with my co-host,
Joan
Joan
Kasmarzik.
Kasmarzik. How you doing, Joan?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Beautiful day today.
Yeah, I'm always happy when you can come, and you've been coming through the whole season.
Yep.
So we hope you're enjoying the shows. You know that I've been working on Chakra 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now we're on Chakra 5. And it is also nearing the time of the holiday season. So I brought in some of our little holiday lights and a holiday plant and a holiday sleigh. And I thought, well, you know, holiday candles and some oil. So we have the Christmas and we have Hanukkah and Kwanzaa coming. It's been a long year. We have Ruby here. He's got his little sweater on. But again, on Chakra 5. Chakra 5 is our throat chakra. Okay. And that's all about making sound. Communications, but our sound, I remember I've said everything has a vibrational frequency. And the solfeggio frequencies, I've spoken about those. But just the sound, like you can hear a sound. And apparently, for example, one sound such as an can have about, I think, 24 emotions attached to it. Ooh. See? So it's interesting that when we're communicating, you know, and sometimes we think it's just a word we said.
Sometimes it's how that word is said.
It's the sound
It's the
vibrational
sound of it,
frequency behind it. Okay.
The old thing, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Well, yeah,
So,
it's the sound, it's the
it's the sound,
intentions,
yes.
but also everything has a reason to have a sound.
Right.
So it's interesting because what was I looking into? Something about communicating, you know, and at a certain point, even our clothing, what we wore, became a form of communicating. So if you saw a person dressed in a certain way, that supposedly would communicate a lot about that person. That's still, I think, in many ways,
I think it's
holds
still, yeah.
true.
Yeah.
We attach communication non-verbally.
Right.
And even with the sound, it's quite complex in terms of how the sound comes across. Someone can hear that sound and it could even generate a memory.
That's very true.
Which could then trigger another emotion. So we aren't even aware of how deep into our DNA sound comes. But think of, our evolution. And even if you have an infant, you watch the development of the sound and the verbalizations of sounds
Right.
and how sounds become emitted out of a being. And so too, in our development, as we learned how to create sound
yeah.
and linguistically how we created words to express our world so that we could communicate.
Yeah, because it's baby's first words, the first sounds that they make, and then how it goes from there, like you said.
Well,
How
just
it builds
even
on it.
developmentally,
Yeah.
sociologically speaking, anthropologically speaking. But I think that the immediate evidence that we have is that we have children, and we can see how children develop sound
Right.
and how they develop emotions. And this, if you study Erik Erikson, I think it's at 2, the child is like fully developed in that, so a lot happens in those first few years of life.
Yeah.
But so too, as we developed as humans, a lot developed through our time. You know, if we're able to and we're open enough to look at some of the research, you know, I think about I'm gonna digress for a minute, but I just think how interesting at this particular juncture of our human communication system, where we're able to communicate through all these portals,
Yeah.
that our universe, in a way, we have a virus, right, that is affected, and we are covering up our throat chakra, so to speak. It's affecting and triggering
It is.
a very deep, I would say, if you want to look at it from an intellectual's perspective and understand another perspective, I think it's resonating from a very deep place in our DNA. And some of the research says that, you know, in terms of how a person receives a sound, depends on how big of an empathetic person they are.
Okay.
Because your empathetic soul, apparently, is how sounds can be translated. Well, we said this last night. Does what a tree in the forest, if it's cut down and falls, if it falls and no one's there, doesn't make a sound?
Yeah, it does.
Something's there to
Something's
hear
there.
it,
Right. Something.
obviously.
Yeah.
Because we know that grass vibrates and it makes sound. Everything has a vibrational frequency to make the sound. The kind of the joke about that was that, you know, if you're not there, you can't hear it, and that's exactly true. If you're not in a space where you can hear the sound coming, sound travels through air and vibrational frequencies, and we have, you know, little hairs and things in our ears anatomically that receive and translate that sound for our brain to
Yes.
understand what's being
To explain either what's being said or what we're hearing.
exactly.
Whether it's, you know, whether it's a nature sound outside, or communicating with another person,
Right.
whatever. It can be anything.
Right.
As we're I don't know that it picked it up, as we're sitting here, there's a very loud blue jay right outside.
Yeah, you might not hear it because I closed the windows, but then again, you might, so I don't know. But yes, everything is going to be, that's audible. If you're within audible space, you're able to hear it.
Exactly.
But then when someone feels as if their ability to be able to speak through the throat chakra, which is your speaking your truth, right, and wanting to be heard and the ability to speak, when that starts to feel like it's being threatened, there's something deep in our DNA from our beginning of, you know, a primal being that says that, you know, we're programmed a certain way when that is affected. I have a few notes, but it may not come out in this show. I just wanted to start to bring up kind of the idea of, since it's so relevant to us right now, I mean, people are literally, you know, the whole, you know, kind of sense of threat associated to freedom, and it's not, I guess I just want to say, no matter what anybody is saying to you, think about how you as a human being are programmed to respond to certain types of things that are happening around us, and that when one feels threatened, okay, another person may not.
Yeah.
Sound of a firework may make everybody go, ooh, ah, but may make a whole other segment of population go, ah.
Exactly.
Okay. So, but it's the same
sound, that's how it's perceived.
or it's the same something that we as humans go, well, it worked well for me, but it's, you know, everyone is so individual that
That's
even
true.
a sound
can
be differently received and processed by the body and the brain.
Yeah.
It's just awarenesses now. I'm like Eric von Donigan.
Mm-hmm.
I ask a lot of questions. You know me why? Because I'm asking questions. I'm not definitely saying you know, have to do this, but why would we want to continue doing something, or why are you asking me to do something, is within the legitimate area of our throat chakra. Our body wants to know. Our mind wants to know. And we came here on the planet as a whole human that consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power centers that are within us. And as I've said before, you don't have to follow a particular system that would make you say, oh, that's crazy. You just have to think about, or go watch some of the videos where I talked about how you feel something in your gut.
Exactly.
How you respond when you see golden arches. That's all energy. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. So, when we talk about how we're processing right now, I think during this holiday season, one of the energies that, we all have to work on is kind of going, well, gee, this is the time when we want to speak towards one another in a way that's sending them into a new year with fresh new hopes and fresh new dreams. And if you are triggered by something, I always say try to leave the room, right? There's a saying I could fight you, or I could duke it out with you, or kill you, or I could just leave the room, right?
Exactly.
So it's these choices that we make in life that vibrate a certain frequency too, and generally if you're doing something like that, the person's going to be mad, and then they may come back in and smash, and but that's all a vibrational frequency, that they're having something that may have been triggered. So I think if we can break our awarenesses around that, then we become a more whole, complete entity of ourselves, because we're all mirroring and triggering, and we don't really even know, where we came from or where we're going. Okay. But we know we have a limited time.
Yeah.
And, it's a time that we get in this country here in the United States of America to make some choices that some other places in the world don't necessarily
they
have.
don't get that choice.
So we're blessed, and yet still, things go on. So the solfeggio frequencies, I've always posted these, and you can look at old Facebook chants, but Facebook videos too, the chats, the live stream chats.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did quite a number of those.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I think I did about 38 or 40 of
You were
those.
doing,
But of course, if you want to see the Nutmeg TV, it's on video on demand with the YouTube video on demand. It's great because you can just go to the playlist and then you can choose what you want to watch.
That's true.
They have a lot. There's a lot of shows there. They're great. We always appreciate Nutmeg TV.
That's for sure.
It's contemporary. It's relevant. It's fresh. It's unfiltered. So I was thinking about the holidays and everything that comes up, and we do chanting, we do singing, we do caroling, And when caroling started, it was not related to Christmas specifically. It was just related to going home to home and wishing people good cheer for the next year. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is.
So, when we think of even like the Gregorian chants, they can produce, for some people, honestly, they can induce sleep and make you feel relaxed, but not for everybody.
No, I'm sure some people find it almost irritating.
Exactly. So why, oh why, are we all so the same and yet all so very, very different?
The question of the ages.
Yes, see? Who are we? Where did we come from?
Where
are we going?
Yes.
Right. Some people are sure they have an answer, and that surety is usually evolved around faith.
Yeah.
And the faith informs them with whatever practice that they're in. I'm a reverend, but with the Universal Life Church, so it's the whole spectrum. So I was saying that with voice and with speaking, we have the transmitter, that which is making the sound. We have the means of it being transmitted, because there's various means that sound is transmitted.
Sure.
I could make
Right,
a sound.
you can make a sound there.
I could clear a sound. I could,
Yeah.
hear a bird, but all the sound then gets through, and then there has to be a receiver.
Yeah, that's true. Otherwise, you're the tree falling in the forest.
Right. So sound has a transmitter, a means of transmission,
And then a receiving.
okay, I'm gonna age me really quick. I don't have any problem doing that. But I'm gonna just say, I remember we had the telephone system, and it was literally, the dial the thing, rotary,
Yeah.
on like a wall with a cord like this. And yet, even with that, I marveled as a young person at how did that person's voice come through the wires so that I could hear it. And yet now, look how we're doing things.
Oh, I know.
So we are definitely bombarding sound out into the universe,
That's true.
which is now basically our transmitter of sound, right?
Yep.
The universe, and we have all the satellites out there.
And they're bouncing all kinds
Everything's
of stuff.
coming back.
Yeah.
And right now we're in like a whole mess of planets that went into retrograde, and Mercury's retrograde. Now that doesn't mean that it went backwards. Retrograde does not mean that. It means the rate at which all of the planets are moving has changed its pace. It's not like one planet is going on. So people get confused with that.
Yeah, I
retrograde.
think that was a very good point to bring up, because I'm sure that a lot of people don't know what that means.
Yeah, retrograde.
Yeah, they think retrograde, and what does that mean? Does it mean the planet's going backwards?
Right, are we going backwards in time?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so I brought in some of the lavender that I harvested from the garden, and it's in the vase here.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. But this I had dried, see? Yeah, nice, right? It's if you had the smell-o-vision, that's what's coming next, they're going to be doing that for sure, you can be guaranteed. We'll be like, meet the Jetsons, they're the modern Stone Age family. Remember that? No, that was the Flintstones. But what about the Jetsons?
The Jetsons.
Meet George Flintstone, George Jetson, and his dog, whatever.
His boy Elroy.
His boy Elroy.
Jane, his wife. Daughter
And they had a
Judy.
spaceship,
Yeah, they did. They had the flying cars.
Yeah. So time,
that smells
time. Yeah, I know it doesn't. It smells
Oh
delicious.
my God.
So time is relative to where we are in the universe, and as we move through time, depending upon what age you are, you see things differently.
That's very true.
It's just so funny. And then, I put some of the lavender into the bag here. This is how I make the little sachets. See how pretty? And then you can, put it in the linen drawers, right? It's nice. But yeah, so ways that we can, lavender is a very, very calming, soothing, it's a flower, and they use it a lot in the lavender essences. You can grow it easily, but then, sometimes it's hard for people to keep it going.
Yeah.
So, and then I brought in, and I want you to see who can guess what this is. You can leave a comment in the YouTube video. There are three types of cactuses. Everyone sees the cactus, they go, oh, it's the Christmas cactus. But I know some of my viewers and friends that are following me know that they've told me to, because remember, what it is, it isn't, I'm not going to say Easter, is it a Thanksgiving or a Christmas? And there's a clue to determine it. So that will be something you can take a look at and see if you can figure that one out.
Oh, wow. Because I know my mom had one, and it actually bloomed in all three of those hours.
Yeah. Yeah, they can, once you get it to bloom, you can have it to bloom a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
So hers
She was
might
here.
have been the early year, could have been an Easter,
Yeah.
or it could have been a Thanksgiving, but usually the Easter ones are at the end of the, you
Yeah.
know.
But all I can tell you is my mother's name was Julia, and Kathleen's middle name is Julia.
Oh, yes.
And there's something about that. You both are phenomenal with growing things.
Yeah.
You know, with doing the plants and also with the cooking and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, my mother loved plants.
It's not the only stuff I'm good at. I
Yeah,
don't want to
well,
be
no,
stuck
no,
in the kitchen in the garden.
No. I'm
But
just.
I do believe that to that point, there is something in a name.
Mhm.
And Shakespeare, a rose by any other name, would it smell as sweet?
Mm.
So names have power to them, and that's why a lot of times people will change their name even, because it's like, this name doesn't resonate with me, and I really need to change it. And we're in a time in our history right now as humans that we have the right to be able to do things like that.
Yeah.
You know, who we are, how we present ourselves, whether it's in terms of our clothing, our sexual persuasion, you know, it was a time you couldn't even wear white after a time.
After Labor Day.
We had so many rules and regulations, and we were just about getting to the point where our fifth chakra was really opening up, and people were saying, well, good and bad. I mean, you know, when it opens, you know, it's never going to be perfect what's coming out, you know.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
And then everyone gets to, you know, witness and learn and hopefully grow
yeah,
and speak more articulately, right?
yeah, exactly.
With more compassion and empathy.
Yes.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Well, now I'm just going to come close for a second, everyone. I like to leave Joan alone for a minute and see how she's doing. How you doing, Joan?
I'm doing just fine. I think this is a very interesting topic to be talking about because when you brought up about basically we're talking about the masks, and I working in a physician's office, we deal with that all day long, where people say, I can't hear you, and it's because of the masks.
Yeah,
it is very, very difficult for everyone.
Well, look, you
But
know,
we do the best we can.
yeah, we're all going through different levels of
Yeah,
it.
this
So
is true.
I hope that we can all just try to like take a breath and you know, and also understand when someone else is having their issue. I don't know. Maybe 'tis the season to be more understanding or more considerate or more anything other than
More patient.
you know,
Yeah.
crazy, going wild, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Exactly.
You know. So anyway, let's see what happens with that. And I look forward to seeing what you have to say about the cactus and what
yes.
kind. And I'll see you soon where we'll be doing the next chakra. So that's third eye. And again, we'll stay in the season. And it's a little low key today because the winds are blowing and autumn's here and Ruby's resting and Crystal's quiet. So
And
I
the kids
thought I'd do a
downstairs
nice
are
little
quiet.
producer show for everyone and just talk about the throat chakra and give everyone a chance to go, yeah, man, this is rough, you know, and
It is.
she's right. Yeah, my ability to speak is really feeling. And so
Cut
do
off.
some, you know,
You're feeling
yeah.
cut off.
I'll talk more. I
Yes.
love you guys. Take care. Blessings. Thank you
Take
so
care.
much for joining us here at Your Best You. Thanks, Joan, for coming on.
Thank you.